Most airbrushes look the same. You might be a bit longer or pointed, but basically the same mechanism in there. So it comes off obviously the tube. You can take the back bit off, which then you've got, this is your needle here. And the needle's the bit you really want to keep straight. You don't want to bend it, because if you bend it, it won't go back in properly, it won't work properly, and
you don't want to pull it out.
Well, you do want to pull it out, but not all the way. So then you can actually, you can't, you've got to twist the little nozzle here. Keep all your pieces, don't lose them. Work on something you can see, and you can pull them out. And a wet cloth or a wipe, whichever way you want, but make sure you keep it straight. You can just wipe it through, because there might be excess. Even though you've cleaned it really well after you've used it, you still may have a little bit on there the next time. They're sharp, so be careful. You can also take off the front end if you need to, and there's a little part where your nut comes through. Again, pop them all back together once you've wiped that. Don't be afraid of it. I think that's the one thing I learnt, was don't be afraid of it. And before I was afraid. Practice with it. Yeah. Yeah. So that's just very, very quickly. But that leaf, that pamphlet has it all on there, the bits and bobs. But just be careful when you take it apart. The other thing that we were shown was really good to clean inside the little pot. You can see, you can pass it around, you can see there's a little, where the actual liquid goes through and comes out, there's a hole there. So that often can get extra colour staying there. Maybe if you've used luster colours, because you can put luster colours through the airbrush, that was right, wasn't it? But they can actually stay in there. So you're going to use luster when you're doing other airbrushing. Do all that first, then do your luster last, because it does take a little bit more cleaning. But these wonderful things that you can use to clean your teeth, they're flexible. So they're a good little brush you can actually put into that hole, move it around, and get rid of any colour that's actually stayed inside there that and might then.
Is it just water, Kerri?
Sorry, with jar like that. And what you should do every time you put yours on, even if you've cleaned it, is make sure that it runs through clear first, because you just don't know. But as I say, you can put that little. It's not going to work now.
Toothbrush.
The little toothbrush into that hole, move it around. It's not going to go in because it's a demonstration, isn't it? Paper tap. I'll show you each one, don't I? You can see there. Press it. See, now I cleaned all that out last night, and we've still got a little bit of. So you can still have a little bit of colour still in it. But you keep doing it the other way. Put your finger over the end of the nozzle and press it, and it will bubble. And then same thing, do it until you can see it's running clear. Alright. Check it out, you're all good to go. So the first thing we did when we did the workshop with Nicole, she suggested and suggests any time, even if you're experienced at doing your airbrushing, is actually doing it onto paper first to practice. Practicing ranges, so you can see if you want a very fine dot, you go closer. If you want it to be bigger, come further away. So you start to learn your pressure, because the more you pull back on it, the more colour you're going to get. Closer you are, the more pressure, you get lots of colour everywhere.
Otherwise you'll paint your walls.
Paint your walls or cover your walls. You might have to do drop cloths like you do when you paint.
You can get drop cloths now that have like a sticky edge But you can just like double-sided tape, and you just, that's what I use.
Hang it up on the wall. Make a
Yeah.
box. Some people make a box and work. So if you've got a cake, put it in there, maybe on the turntable, and you keep going round.
I had a big moving box.
Blow a little bit onto, so at least you can see it coming out. Then if you have got extra colour, you're not going to, if you're changing between colours, make sure you've got the colour that you actually want. So as I said, press down, air first, so you can go off your work. Because if you're going onto a cake, you wouldn't want to go straight away, straight into it, because it might come on in a big blob, or might not be the, you know, the consistency of colour that you want. So I'm just going to do a few dots to show you the difference. So hopefully you can see okay there. Just pull back lightly. And so you can actually point it. I won't bore you with all of this, but you can do wiggles. You can, so I won't bore you with all of that. You can all have a go if you want to afterwards too. One, you can just get a piece of paper, cut a wiggly line, and create yourself hills, waves. Sorry, we'll stick with pink because I've got it in there for now. Make your own stencils with these again. Okay, so you can start, depending on how deep, how much you want. Again, move it along. Offset it. But you'd fill in more, obviously, depending on what sort of design you're looking at. Just a little bit of what's it called, Crisco, or just a little bit on the back, you know. So if you were going to have a whole cake where you wanted to create a sunset scene or anything really, you could do those, the cakes where you have silhouettes on them. You could do the same process with this, and you could put onto the cake using that, put your pictures around, so say the line thing. You can put a piece of paper. Put them around the cake first, and then you could create your sunset. It's where we're going to do our a whole thing. If you start further away, you'll get less, obviously less colour, so it's better off to do it that way, and then you can always move closer or use more pressure, pull back more, and you'll get more colour. So this is more first, and then you can add to it afterwards. You're not, you know, set. Down, pull back, and just back and forth, nice strokes. Okay. I'm happy with that. See how this is good, because at least it's going straight onto that, and if you don't want it, just chuck it in the bin afterwards. So again, now the good thing about this is because we're getting one colour going in your doing your yellow, your orange, you can put yellow in first, orange in afterwards, and it's going to mix together okay, so you don't have to You're not wasting anything. Put the backing. And you don't need a lot at all. Sorry, I think I put that in your face. Same thing again. Down, pull back. Just run over the top of the yellow, moving it into the orange. So, and up to how you want it. And then again, pressure up and around the way. I've probably blocked it. Oh, that's better. See, it would have been upsetting. Mine's a bit green because I still had a little bit of orange in, but get the idea. And then you can put it down because it dries very quickly on here. So just be careful. And then you can offset your waves. And again. Sorry, I'm not blocked. Again, press a little harder. Alright, and yep, it's white between, but you can lightly spray between there. It's very, I think it's very forgiving. So you could do more, you would take more time, you wouldn't rush it like that. But you can do it with any colours, it's effective. Alright. Have your disc, if you were doing it as a topper, or you can do it straight onto the cake. If you're doing it straight onto a cake, you just need a little bit of masking tape that you can actually, because they're flexible, bend it around the cake, just tape it on 2 little bits so that you are just doing. So it sits there, you don't have to hold it in one spot, especially when you're doing 2 different.
You also said if there's something on the stencil that you don't want to
That's
colour,
right.
You put tape over it.
That's right. I've got my
So if you
masking
wanted
tape,
not to
so
have a head, you just put tape on it.
yeah, that's right. So if you had, where is it? Like we used, get it out? Something like this. There was a. So if you had something like that, there's lots of little faces all over it.
Don't look good on a turtle.
No, they're very good on the turtle. We give it a bit of character. Yeah. So if you were doing that on there, but creating, I don't know, it might be a pumpkin for Halloween. You might do the pumpkin first, then put a face onto it. Obviously, if you're not careful, you'll get overspray on that. So just put your masking tape just straight across that bit, and you don't get it. Which is very cool. So. Okay. So, and same thing. Again, how much pressure you want to put in, do the little accents that you want to do. do, make sure you have the colours out first that you're going to use. But and that's where that little airbrush pot is actually quite good, because you would sit it into the airbrush pot, put some water in it, and then just spray away. You don't have to do it onto any paper, you can just do it straight into the pot, and then at the end just clean it all out, because it's, you know, just get rid of it. And get these on every single bottle of colour you have to. It's easier. And then now, I'm just going around and doing all the little bits I've missed in another colour. And take more time than I'm taking. So you can, you know, do whatever you really want to, whatever colours and... And the same thing was for the spider on the web. You have a web. You'd have a smaller one. You've got one here, haven't you?
Where'd you get your stencils from, Kerri?
Okay, see, I've got stencils. You can get stencils really. I've got all different sorts, but that one we happened to get the day. Wendy got me some from AliExpress, is that right? And then Wendy has been a little bit busy, because you can actually create your own stencils if you have Cricut.
Yes.
So Wendy decided she was going to give it a go. So she went out on a shopping spree and got a Cricut. And she's now created some of her own stencils. So, but, it's not too bad.
Why don't you use your holder, your cookie holder?
Oh, thank you, Wendy. Also, you can get these wonderful things. Thanks, Wendy. Very good at this. These things magnet together, hold your stencils in place.
Where did you get that from?
Oh,
AliExpress.
Wendy.
We just got Wendy to do a big shop.
Wendy
for
just did a
us, so
shop
we might
after and went to the workshop and found her stuff.
Yeah, we're at the workshop.
In wherever you want it to be.
And one side's thicker than the other, because your cookie might be thicker than,
Oh, that's true.
you know, the
Yeah,
other side.
so cookie lady.
See you later,
over here.
everyone.
See that?
See ya. You can sit over. Yes, one's thicker than the other. So I'm going to make sure that it's sitting on the thinner side. So I've only got a thin disc. Right there. Magnet, and it's not going to move. I don't have to hold it.
Need 10 of them.
There's another
Well, you
one.
can get different sizes. Obviously, it doesn't work in a round
But
cake.
you can
It's a
also
cookie
use
thing.
magnets. I saw a site, you can just buy magnets at Bunnings. Use magnets.
Well, there we go. See?
That's magnets stick to your cake.
Yeah, well, that's what
I
we
just-
need now, is a wraparound one that sticks to your cake.
Exactly.
So that's just sitting there, and I don't have to hold it and get them messy as well. Again. Same thing, pull it back. Spray over the top. Haven't used this one yet. Oh, ta-da! But again, if I'd masked the certain lines, it wouldn't have shown. But okay, and then you put on your. Thanks, Wendy. That's a good thing. And again, pop your spider where you'd like him. Halloween, you could do this for boys. They love gruesome things like this.
You got a picture of a squash spider?
Just a ball, just do a dot, Lou. A dot. That's what they look like. Okay, same thing. Press down. and then you're spined, so you can layer up many things. Oh, sorry, Lou. That's okay. Oh. But the other thing, so you can do, it's endless with stencils. You can just keep layering, and there's all sorts. I know it's Wendy's got some Happy Mother's Day, so you could do the writing in there if you've got a stencil. But hunt around anyway. You can use any stencils really. Endless, whatever you want to do. But if you were doing a cake, you don't need to have. They want flowers on there, but you don't. They last minute order. You don't have to make them show quality and all that, and they're just happy for something. You can airbrush your leaves, your petals, your leaves as well. So you can put then whatever colours you want, starting with your lightest colour, bring it up. Just might be something quick that you want to do, which I thought was quite cool.
I did some
Cool.
tulips the other day, and I dusted them. I wanted black tulips, so I did a colour, but then I dusted them black, and it took me ages and ages and heaps of black, and I thought airbrushing would have done it a lot quicker. Black, yeah.
Especially, say, if there's something that you just want it doesn't have to be, it does show quality, you want to put together, a lily or something like that, and put it together quickly when you've got your petals there. Sorry, I'm all tongue tied. It was the same thing, you just keep layering it up. You can airbrush anything, can't you? Sue does a lot of hair. Well, most people probably do for their novelty stuff. You airbrush the bits you want where you want it to give detail. Okay, same thing. Down, pull back, and then further away and just lightly spray. And further away you are, the quicker it will dry. The closer you are, it's going to be shiny, and so don't touch it for a little bit. Same process if you're dipping and spinning and glazing, don't touch anything. So same thing, you do it to what colour you want, what depth you want. Add extra to it. One of the last things we did was, when you airbrush, you can also take the colour off. So if you were creating, and look, mine are minus the stars, so you have to, so I forgot to go up and get some luster or white. So is to create, if you're going to create something like the galaxy, you start off, you airbrush it all black.
My thoughts.
This one, I had to make another one because I didn't like my first one. And my son said, that looks like the galaxy. And I said, no, not quite. But I didn't like it. I wasn't happy with it. So I put it away.
Yeah, mine wasn't.
I'm going to create, don't do that. Create something like this. Start further away again. Same thing. Sorry, it's a bit boring. Basically, cover it all black. I forgot something, I know. And
The
you
only
just,
thing she said about the black was to try and not get the green base one, wasn't it? The green?
the green, yeah,
Yeah,
because a lot of,
'cause there's
obviously
two
black is
different
green
blacks.
based.
Yeah.
So you would cover that. Now I did forget, if you want to create, which you would, your planets, a moon, put a little bit of fondant and put that on there. Then airbrush it, so that when you peel that off afterwards, you've got your white spot underneath for your moon. Okay, so I'll just let that dry. If anyone wants to carefully, without taking all of it off, use your finger, and I'll hold it out. And just wipe. Sorry, I'll do it here now. It might still be a bit sticky. And you want to make it clean as clean as you can. So you would fiddle around a bit more, but you can just pull the colour off, back to white. And then that's where you start to put bits of colour in. A little bit of colour here and there. And then you can go back in and start to add the wherever you want the colour. And again, just you're building up. So pick a picture or make your own, or you know, the galaxy has lots of colours in it. So you just keep adding to it.
Yeah, I took that first. Yeah, I didn't get one of the galaxy though.
I'll do it up the
Oh, I
side.
did. Just send me a picture of that, Kerri.
Yep. And, you know, put the colours in. There's all sorts of colours, depending on what you've got. That one had those colours. The ones Nicole's had, you know, purples in it and blues and, you know. You can put slip it. There you go. There's the other one. And then, I'm happy with that one.
I like this one.
I think because we did it at the end of the day and it felt a bit,
I did enjoy that part of the airbrush.
I enjoyed it when I went home and did
Yeah,
it
it
because
felt
I could
rushed
get a
and-
picture in front of
Yeah,
me
we
or
were
an
pushing
idea
it
in
too,
front of me.
so
So
I think that was the
I won't
only thing that
continue
went
to
in
get the
your
idea.
window.
So you just keep putting in colour. So get a picture in front of you. That's what I would do. And then if you want to put your stars on, there's a couple of ways. You can either put it on a toothbrush, a lot of you know, and flick the colour so you get speckles everywhere. Again, don't just do it where you don't want colour. Or the other way, and I've tried it, that's if it works. And is that right? Put it facing onto that. Did you try it?
No, I didn't try it.
Okay, all right, let's try it. So, I wondered why I had,
Was it tilted?
wondered why I had a popsicle stick in there. You can have a popsicle stick that you hold straight. We're going to try this because we all didn't do it. There you go. And then you point the nozzle straight onto it. Sorry, let me try it. I'm trying it on yours. And then you brush. Oh, yes, see, there you go. And and it flicks. So you could do that. And I'm sorry, I meant to go run up to Alison and get some luster today. Maybe I could try that on my horseshoe. And it will flick as well. So I guess it depends whichever way. You might want to go closer to the edge. Maybe I was being a little bit too. Oh, there you go. Flick where you want it to go. That looks really good. But we didn't do it the day of the thing because you needed to let all of this dry and then maybe the day later you go and do it. So if you're doing a galaxy cake at home and airbrushing, don't be in a rush to get it all done in one day and get out the door. Give onto, yeah. So there's two ways you can do it, which is a bit extra. There's something else I thought I had to say, but it's gone. No. Yeah, it's endless. You can write on a cake
Do the biscuits.
with your airbrush.
I did.
Now she's putting me under pressure. What am I going to do? Colour them in.
No, I'm just saying that this is another thing.
Oh,
you
this
can do
is
for
another thing.
Christmas.
A little sidekick here. So you can put the stencil onto
I
the
did them one
Vicky.
year for my grandson and he gave them to his mates at school and whatever.
So what are the colours down the side?
Oh, wow.
That's your own colour on the side? How
Yeah,
did you
that's-
create that?
That's airbrushing liquid that I put in there and just let it dry.
Oh,
And so you have a little brush
Oh, there we go.
with it as well. And so
They can
the
do
kids
their
just put it
own
in a bit of
paint
water.
their
And
Have a
then
look at
paint
those.
their-
So you just drop the airbrush colour into the little hole?
Yeah. Oh my
And then-
And
gosh.
it's dried, and then they
I
can
always
do a
wondered
little
how they
paint
did it.
by
I wanted to do something like
colour.
that. That was
No,
excellent.
that's all right.
Really, really well done.
I hope it was clear.
Yeah, it's very good.
The next meeting, are we going to see people bring some demos in?